I don't know why I thought that Artur Beterbiev was a Ring Magazine champion. Well, anyway, we're a couple of days away, and I actually can't believe that we're actually here and the fight's going to happen, given Artur Beterbiev's extensive injury history. So the fighters just faced off in Saudi Arabia for their undisputed title fight that's going to be taking place this weekend on the Zone. It's a mid-day card here for us in the States because it's taking place over in Saudi Arabia. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the Zone and tell you exactly what time it starts. I'm TstreeT Controversy with Fight View 360, and I already talked about the undercard in the previous video. So what we're going to do is focus on the 175-pound division. And here it is, Saturday at 12 p.m. There you go. We're going to talk about the light heavyweight division and what's possibly next. Wait a minute, y'all making me buy this? Huh? I thought that was free in the, oh my gosh. You know what? Wait a minute. We don't get this fight free on the Zone. We got to buy this for $20. So listen to this. Originally, Shakur Stevenson versus Joe Cordina was supposed to be on this card too. We were supposed to get Shakur Stevenson versus Joe Cordina in the undercard on pay-per-view, and then Artur Beterbiev versus Bivol main event on ESPN Plus, which I always thought was weird, but it's looking like they're still making us pay for this card. The undercard that's headlined by Fabio Wardley and Fraser Clark too. So confusing. That's a whole different rant video right there. I can't believe that they're doing that. Wait a minute. So let me make sure this is right. That ain't right. That ain't right. That ain't right. That ain't right. They ain't doing. That ain't right. Let's do it this way. Let's go to schedule. Let's go to boxing. Let's go to Saturday. The build-up show. Yo, you see the lock? I'm tired of this. By the way, I don't buy my pay-per-views through the Zone. I buy all of my pay-per-views through my cable subscriber because I don't want my pay-per-views that I paid for locked behind a paywall. I just hook up my my capture card to my cable box. But anyway, that's neither here or there. So finally, Artur Beterbiev and Dmitrii Bivol are going to be fighting to be undisputed at 175 pounds. Seems as though a large majority of boxing fans are going with Dmitrii Bivol, mostly because he's a very patient fighter. He's a very poised fighter. He doesn't go out there and, you know, and he's been criticized for it in the past. He doesn't overcommit, if that makes sense. You know, we saw with Canelo where, you know, it looked like he could go in for the kill against Canelo and then he would back off. And a lot of people are saying that that's the way he can possibly win if he doesn't get greedy. Now, Artur Beterbiev, the issue I have with him is he can box. He can be a technical boxer, a technical fighter, 20-0 with 20 KOs, but he's 39 years old and he's always injured. For example, let's just go look here. 2022, one fight. 2023, one fight. 2024, okay, all right. Colin Smith. But if you look at it, these are nice quality opponents, but nothing really sticks out. And if you think about it, the division outside of Bivol has been somewhat weak. I mean, you know, over the last several years. Now, you do have David Benavidez and David Morrell now in the division. They're supposed to be facing on a pay-per-view sometime in the beginning of 2025. And the winner of that will be the first mandatory for the winner of this fight. And it's possible that it can happen. Meaning because PBC fighters have been fighting on Saudi cards. So what I'm doing is, Bivol's got that power. You know, he has shown that if he touches you, you're going to go down. I'm just concerned about if he'll be able to keep up with the pace. He's never seen somebody like Dmitrii Bivol, at least in the pros, because he'll say that he's seen many guys like Dmitrii Bivol in the amateurs. Okay, I remember saying that years ago about when Lomachenko fought Gary Russell Jr. I was like, you know, Lomachenko probably seen plenty of Gary Russell Jr.'s in the amateurs. And then what happened? He ended up dismantling Gary Russell Jr. So we know that Bivol on paper looks like the overall better boxer. But that's not saying that that's not saying that Artur Beterbiev or Beterbiev, I keep calling him Beterbiev, Beterbiev is not saying that he doesn't have technical prowess either. So it's a difficult fight to call because both of these guys are being tested. But if you really look at it, what separates Bivol's resume from Beterbiev's resume is Canelo Alvarez. And how do you look at Canelo Alvarez? Well, let me tell you. I've always considered Canelo Alvarez a 160 pounder masquerading at 168 pounds where he can kind of pick and choose his fights. He tested the waters against Sergey Kovalev. Sergey Kovalev was long in the tooth, belly full of vodka. And Canelo was able to take him out. And there's rumors, I'm not confirming, that there was a rehydration clause during that fight too. But when he took on Bivol, this is one of those fights where I felt, that damn, I wish I was a degenerate gambler, because I would have bet a lot of money on Bivol if I knew how to gamble, because I just said it's a bridge too far for Canelo. And especially going up against a technical fighter like Bivol. And what we've learned from Canelo over the years, he always has issues with technical fighters. Now, looking at the resume, the fights that stick out, like Alberto Ramirez, Saul Canelo Alvarez, Joe Smith Jr. and both Joe Smith Jr. and Jean Pascal, they were, you can say, definitely past their primes. Definitely Jean Pascal, but still nice quality names on the resume. Sullivan Barrera was still somewhat of something back then. So on paper, he's been more active, hasn't had the injuries that Beterbiev has had. But when you look at the resume of Beterbiev, it's far in between. For example, remember, he started hot. When did he win the IBF title? When was this? Back in 2018. 2017, he's been IBF champion. Remember, this was around the time Andre Ward retired. A lot of people were saying Andre Ward was retiring to avoid guys like Bivol and Beterbiev. I'm just saying that's what people were saying. I was at this Volzik fight in Philly. I had a chance to talk to Beterbiev. I'm sorry, I keep getting these guys confused. And he is really like that. He's not a guy who does a lot of talking. He'll tell you boxing is just a job for him. That's why I feel if he was to lose, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see him again. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it may be a rematch depending on how the first fight goes, but I wouldn't be surprised if we're in the last days of Beterbiev. So anyway, I was at this fight. Volzik was doing good earlier on with the boxing, but we've seen that Beterbiev can have a slow start. We saw it against Marcus Brown before he got knocked out. He can be a bit of a slow starter. Now, against a guy who's as patient as Dmitrii Bivol, it makes you kind of wonder, well, could Bivol make it a boring fight where he plays keep away and, doesn't really commit to something? So it can go either way. It can go either the fact that Beterbiev can play the high volume pressure fighter. I mean, he's not really too high volume. He's not like a guy that just swings for the fences, but he can even be the come forward fighter, or he can try to wait and try to set up Bivol for a trap. But honestly, from what I've seen from Bivol, he can make fights very lackluster. And that right there can be his key to win. Just keep it simple. Don't be greedy. Jab, box. I really don't think he cares about, entertaining the fans too much. Don't get me wrong. He's got a lot better on the mic, and he's got some humor to him. But when it comes to in the ring, he don't be going out there just worrying about knocking fighters out. By the way, take a time out, like the video, subscribe. I'm TstreeT Controversy with Fight View 360. Don't remember years ago when Joe Smith rung his bell, had him really thinking about his future. Remember that? In fact, I'm going to pull up that clip. Here's that clip right here. This is the hardest I've ever seen Bivol hit. Correct me if I'm wrong. But you can see when he took this at the end of that round, he was, look, watch this.
As I mentioned, Bivol, good shot there. That might have hurt Bivol right there.
Crazy. And you heard it. So what happens now? Joe Smith was known as a nice power puncher. He knocked poor old Bernard Hopkins out the ring, the common man. But what happens if Beterbiev, or I keep saying Beterbiev is able to catch him. He took it though, but you can tell he wasn't right a little bit. Look, you saw that little break dance move. Anyway, we're going to be here streaming after the fight and before the fight, and we're going to talk about everything and break everything down. This is kind of disappointing that, I have to buy this. But it is what it is. It's only $20, but still $20 for, this is a regular zone. If we're paying for just this headline by Fabio Worley, Fraser Clark, having Chris Eubank Jr. versus Ahmed, we're going to talk about this card. This does not have to be this is a fight we should get on a regular DAZN. Doesn't make sense to me. So I'm guessing this is the way DAZN is going to make their money since, here's a question. I don't think that Beterbiev, Bivol is going to be on DAZN. It's not, is it? It's only going to be on ESPN Plus. So this is them trying to make their money for the event. Either way, it's just confusing. Too many pay-per-views. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, drop a like. I'm TstreeT Controversy with 5U360.